Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to the Uplift Podcast, the storytelling platform centering marginalised voices. I'm Tshelane Reid, your host. Thanks for joining us for the third episode and the final in the Genesis series. Over the past few weeks, we've been hearing from friends and the team who've all shared stories in response to the prompt, Genesis. For the final episode, you'll be hearing my story, which focuses on how I came to understand the root of my differences and essentially discovering my most authentic self. Enjoy. From Master Burnout. I've never really thought of myself as a good actor. In school, my approach to drum class was to just hold out until the end of the lesson, hoping no one would designate me the resident awkward girl of the class. Despite all that effort though, I was the awkward girl. Over time, I've managed to meticulously master the craft. I don't do classical acting, or the method approach, or even the Chekhov technique. I don't get paid to act. I don't seek out roles. I don't even particularly enjoy it. Each day, I go out into the world and put on my finest performance. One might say an award-worthy act. As impressive as it is, it's never intentional. I do it for survival. In fact, I didn't even know I was doing it until quite recently. In the midst of the chaos that was the first UK lockdown, I came across the term masking. It's defined as a process in which an individual conceals their natural personality to conform to societal pressures and abuse. It's often used by neurodiverse people to survive a neurotypical world. So when, at the age of 25, I was diagnosed with ADHD, my whole world fell apart. For those of us with ADHD, the need to hide is so dire that many of us use hypothetical superglue to fix our masks in place throughout our lifetime. The result? Usually depression, anxiety, and good old imposter syndrome in every area of life. And the masking itself? It's exhausting. Why? Because neurotypical behaviours don't come naturally to me. I mask at work to ensure my colleagues are being productive, when it's taking every ounce of my energy to keep up. I mask in front of friends to make sure they feel heard, when I'm fighting the urge to zone out. I mask in front of family, so they don't panic at my lack of adulting skills. On the outside looking in, ADHD might seem bizarre, and the symptoms, an inconvenience. Hyperactivity means that even after an hour-long gym session, an hour-long jog, and a yoga session, I still have enough energy to channel into singing Whitney's I Will Always Love You at the top of my lungs, over and over again. On the other hand, inattentive symptoms mean that task you asked for a few days ago, I've not done it. Instead, over the last 48 hours, I've fallen into deep fatigue, even at the thought of completing that uncompelling task. Sorry. But thanks to my mask, I'll get it done. I always get it done. It'll just be 2 hours before it's due. After enjoying this cycle for 25 years, my body had had enough. It decided for me that it would not go on, however much I willed it. My mind had taken a beating, and my life was abruptly brought to a halt, without my consent. I was burnt out. This wasn't the first time I had been, and despite a diagnosis, it might not even be my last. But this time was the first time I knew why. That's the thing about masking. It's a temporary solution to a lifelong problem. The problem itself is living in a world not made for people who think like me. And that's not going to change anytime soon. So what did I do? I took the time to learn who this new person was. This person I'd been living with all my life, but hid so successfully. I took the time to nurture them, to care for them, prioritize them, and let them know that they were accepted and acceptable, just the way they are. They didn't need to hide in the shadows to be worthy of this life. Just existing is enough. With that in mind, will I be able to hang up my amateur acting career? Probably not anytime soon. But what this process has triggered is the start of the long journey towards my retirement. And slowly but surely, I'm chipping away at my perfectly molded mask. Writing and sharing my story with you all has been super exciting and actually really cathartic. It's nice to give yourself the space sometimes to just decipher your own thoughts and just let it all out. It feels good. It feels really, really good. I hope that by listening to my story, even if it's just one person, someone out there has felt seen, has felt heard and felt represented. If that's you, show us some love on our socials at Uplift Podcast UK and use the hashtag UpliftPodcast. Just to let you know, we're still looking for storytellers of all backgrounds to share their stories about acceptance with our stigma. So if you're a poet, a writer, or just fancy getting some thoughts off your chest, head over to our socials to submit. No experience is necessary and you will be paid if your story is selected. Yeah, we care about paying our contributors. That's so important to us. Join us next Sunday for the first episode of the Acceptance series. Until next time, my loves. Mwah.